So we are back, and now I am asking questions because we were just chatting about how we're just starting a new series, and you will see a few of these episodes here and there, and how we can give you tangible examples of AI uses.
Yeah.
And the first one, which is very timely, is because we were just talking about it, and it's something that Alec knows quite a bit about because he's worked through it, which is it's going to be one of the prerequisites of us talking about this. One of us will have worked through it ourselves. We may even do some demos here live, but we would have worked through it ourselves, which means you can do it.
Yep.
And the first one is on vectorizing content
Yep.
to power AI agents in marketing and customer experience. What is it? What does it mean? What does it do? Why should I care?
100. I love this. This is going to be so fun. I'm so glad we're doing these. I'm going to break this down as quickly as I can. I tend to motor mouth, so apologies if this goes too quick. But vectorizing content is effectively taking a bunch of content and assigning it numerical properties so that large language models can kind of make sense of it. And there's a bunch of other stuff that's embedded in that, semantic layers, so that you can do semantic search. So that if I say, a black microphone, it might connect the dots between this microphone, which has black and white on it, as well as purely black microphones, because ultimately people are typically thinking about more than just one linear concept when they say something, which ties to semantic search. So to bring it full circle and bring it back, if you vectorize your content, let's use a super tangible example in the B2B space, technology world, my world. So let's just say you have hundreds of thousands of pages of content that you've created and documentation that's really useful to prospects and customers and so on and so forth over the years. And they sit in different environments like websites and folders and all sorts of different things. If you were to vectorize that content the way I just described, what you actually could do is you could then create a little box on your website, right, which would be an interface with an AI agent. And you could enable the agent itself, kind of like a ChatGPT example for those that aren't that technical. You could then enable the agent to create a personalized relationship, not just with the content, but with the human. So Tati's questions would be a little bit different than Alex's questions and so on and so forth at scale. And the reason why it's really important is that the faster you can help a human being in a marketing or customer experience capacity find what it is they're looking for, and also surprise and delight them by finding things that maybe they didn't even realize they were looking for, that were tangential, like kind of like what we just talked about with the microphone color and so on and so forth. You're going to drive more better outcomes as measured in this arena, such as higher engagement, more qualified leads, likely more deals will close. And ultimately, you're going to have a whole lot of data exhaust that you're going to be able to interpret to figure out what other types of content are we missing that we should fill those gaps, and therefore create a better customer experience and or better marketing content, which ultimately shows up in more better revenue and lifetime value, et cetera. And so everything I just described is super straightforward technically to do. Everybody's got the assets. It's like having ingredients in a kitchen that you aren't cooking necessarily a certain way because you don't have a certain pan. Well, all those pans are available now, as are the chefs that can help you do this. And I think it's a really low-hanging fruit, no-brainer way to improve revenue, profitability, and leading indicators of such in the world of marketing and customer experience.
One of my favorite uses for something like this is a smarter, faster customer support. If you go back to our first episodes, we haven't heard any of your shopping woes.
Oh God, I've tried to steer clear.
But if we go back to that, the fact that these agents will be able to pull that information from all your existing docs
Yes.
and policies and interactions and everything that you have in seconds. So these customers will get those replies and the right information,
That's right.
accurate replies in seconds, and not hours or days, or inaccurate responses in days, which is what I just experienced last two interactions with a customer experience, which we'll leave for another episode. But what are your favorite what sort of favorite uses for this where you see the real value?
You just nailed it, Tati. I don't like shopping. I think everyone that's ever watched this probably knows that. It's not my favorite thing. What I really, really like is super bespoke, highly personalized experiences that are very relevant to whatever my need or want might be. So in the case, just using the microphone thing, I podcast, I produce a ton of content. I don't know why the places that I've bought, and I won't name them, haven't mined those data sets of 10 plus years of historical purchasing behavior and introduced, like I just said, mash that data set up with vectorized content so that every time I interact with said, retailer's AI agent, it knows me. It gets to know me even better over time, and it becomes even more valuable because it'll make recommendations about how to improve my kit or something I wasn't aware of, and I would welcome that. And of course, I would increase my purchasing with the retailer that did that versus the one that didn't, which would have a direct relationship. So for me, it's just highly bespoke, personalized customer experiences that ultimately create utility and value for me based on data about my previous shopping patterns, and needs and wants.
The other thing I get very excited about, which is what you're describing, but it works both ways, is not just to the customer, it's also with the employees, right? An
Yeah.
employee can get a super fast and say, hey, what's our policy for X, Y, and Z? What kind of exceptions could I play with it? So really understanding when to escalate and all those things. There's some really tangible improvements, not just to timing, but to accuracy. And then most of all, one of my favorite words, consistency. So you get one voice, you get one answer, you get who hasn't had that experience of calling or reaching out in whatever way in person even, and you speak to three people and you have three different answers.
Totally.
And so this is really and that's how you also embed and control, but in a good way. Control as a good word, your brand, and your, whether they're talking to a bot, whether they're reading your email, whether they're shopping in your store, uh, that AI will help your message remain consistent, will help your presence, your what you represent to remain consistent, and that's one of the keys in building a strong brand.
Without a doubt, Tati, and to build on that, I think that any retailer I've ever done business with kind of knows that I'm very loyal as long as the value exchange makes sense, right? The easier they make it for me. I can think of two small businesses that I interact with right now that I just love how they send a text message to confirm 48 hours in advance. Just give us a Y or an N if you're on board with showing up at this time, and so on and so forth. Or if I need to make a change on something kind of last minute, I don't have to pick up the phone and call them. I just drop something in, and I know that the environment that I drop that message in within their application, to your point, it is being understood by the AI infrastructure they've put in place. It also gets channeled to the right specialist, and then that person and anyone else responds, and there's transparency amongst all the other folks that that work with my dog in this instance, right? And that means the world to me, right? And it's just easier, faster, better, and then now I'm talking about it, right? So this is for small businesses, for big businesses, for everybody in between. I just think it's really important to use modern data infrastructure to enable data modeling, to then enable an orchestration layer and semantic layer, and ultimately vectorizing content so that the AI agent can make my life easier, better, faster, all these good things as a customer, as well as augment human workflows for those that work in these businesses so they can focus on the more human dimension of like interacting with me, for example, when I'm there, which I love, with informed observations and consistency. To your point, I love that. That's the best.
If your content cannot be used by an agent, is not a real asset.
Definitely not. And it's so straightforward to do this. I cannot tell you. Literally, those that can't code can do this. That's where we're at now. It's unbelievable how quickly things have changed.
That's the other piece that I find, whether you're building projects or GPTs or full agents, whatever you are doing today is something that you cannot think of doing without a multi-year degree in the past.
It's crazy.
Uh, and that's another piece that is mind blowing. And we talk about speed. I was having this conversation last week with somebody around speed and how it really isn't measured even in years or months even anymore. We're talking about weeks of change and development, and that speed is only going to increase. So, uh, kudos to you for finding what made your work incredibly easier with vectorizing the content. And we're going to continue on this series and talking about short episodes that will talk about the things we are doing and the problems we are solving, and hopefully that inspires our viewers to look to solve their own problems. And by the way, we're here, so we
I
can
love
help
it.
you.
I love it. Thank you, Tati. And let's definitely do it because I think sometimes folks are, all right, cool, land the plane, right? Like, what's real, you know? So thank you very much. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Cheers.
See ya.